Hey guys, it's Dani. So I was asked by my fellow 3 Fat readers to do a tarot collection video. I did do an oracle one the other day, so I said, I guess it's time to do the tarot collection, because they were like, what do you have? So this is what I have. I have a very humble little collection, in my opinion. I use all of my decks, and so I'm really kind of picky about what I'm bringing in, just because I want it to have a purpose. There's probably a few that need to be rehomed. I don't think it'll be as many as like the, 8 or 10 that I had in my oracle collection that I was just like, eh. I don't think there are as many in this, but here we go. I don't want it to be too long, so let's just kind of dive right in and start with the Rider-Waites. Pre-apologize. This is what my fingers look like today. They were nice and polished, and then I was doing a lot of artwork and scrubbing, and they look like this. I didn't redo them. I'm sorry. I'll try not to offend you by showing them as much as I can, but I have weird fingernails. You know this. Not weird, but peeling. Anyway, let's start with the Rider-Waite. So, I have only a few. I have this guy here, which is the same one that I did the deck modification. I did trim these, but I did a video of me putting the ink to kind of distress it a little bit. It worked for the most part, just not as well as I would like. It kind of put a little dullness on it because, man, the yellows were out of control. But you can kind of see how it kind of dulled it down a little bit. It got in the cracks and made it look like, you know those old oil paintings that you can kind of see a little better there, where you could kind of see little cracks in it? That's kind of what it did to this. And these have the plaid backs. So there's this one. And then I have the Centennial Edition. I have the big one, which is borderless, and the Ultimate. And then I have the one in a tin. Now these already have that vintage vibe, which is why I think I connect more with these. Now the little ones do have a border on it, but it's not those offensive bright white borders that some deck creators put on like a dulled. I think I have one that's like that, and I might have cut it off already. But it was like a dull kind of old look to the cards. Oh, it was my Lenormand. It was like old vintage looking cards and then bright white around the edges, and I was like, no. But these match, so they're not so bad, and they're small enough that I don't mind, because this is the deck that I keep on my desk, or that I'll throw in my bag, because it's really convenient, and it's like one of my favorite style of Rider-Waite, and I don't feel like I need to trim that one because it's a good size, and I have this one, so I'm okay with it. The only other one I have is going to be the Albano, and that's because I love these colors, you guys. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. I am going to fling cards all over the place. Oh my god, please hold on. So these just have some great color shifts, and I really do enjoy them. This one needs a bit of modifying, I think. Now this deck, I will say, has a few like printing errors in it, where some of them look a bit blurry. You can kind of see it's a little bit blurry. A little bit, yeah, you can kind of see. But it's not terrible, and like I said, I got this one more for the aesthetics of it. I just really enjoyed the colors. Like, I'm not really worried about everything being super crisp. This is just one of those fun decks that I got that I would like to modify and just kind of have in my collection, because I like to use it. I really do. But I know these images backwards and forwards, so it doesn't bother me so much they're not super clear. Not enough to not own it, because I read the reviews before, and like a lot of the reviews will say that. They'll be like, oh, there's printing errors, they're blurry, but I'm not mad at it. I'm just not. I'm not. So I have those. Those are my Rider-Waite decks. So in the same spirit of the tin, let's go to my other tins. What do I have here? I have a few tins. I have the Wunderland Tarot. Now this is one of the ones that I don't really use a whole bunch, but I love to have because it's so storybook. And I am a huge Alice in Wonderland fan, and these really do remind me of the illustrations in the book. So I love this little deck just to have around. I don't use it too much, like I said. This one is more of like, it reminds me of my childhood, and it reminds me of some of my favorite things. So I do have this one, and I also keep some of these around and keep those in mind, because I would like to give them to my little girl one day. So I have a few that maybe she'll kind of like, and she likes to flip through. So another tin, are my two favorite tins. And that is the Margon Greer and the Aquarian Tarot. Oh my god, I love them. I love these like 70s vibe tarots. They're some of my absolute favorites. I do actually want to get the Aquarian Tarot in its bigger form, because I would like to trim this, but I feel like these are too small to trim. And I just love the whole vibe. I love the cups, I love the design, and it has my favorite devil. You guys know that. My favorite devil. I talked about that in a few of my other videos. I would love to get a print of this because I don't know what it is about it. I just freaking love it. So I have my Aquarian Tarot, and I have the Margon Greer, which I adore. I don't really want the bigger version of this because it's borderless. I don't need it. I don't need it. And these remind me of a lot of the storybooks that I read as a kid. They all had the same type of artwork in it. So I love the Margon Greer, and I love the backs. They're just fun. Yes. So the Margon Greer is one on the top of my list, I will say. This one and the Aquarian Tarot are some of my favorites. Let's go into some more small decks. I have this deck, which is also called Tarot Nova, I believe, if you can search it. I always forget. But this is a copy of the very first tarot deck that I ever got. Now, when I got it as a kid, I was about 13 years old. I got this in a fortune telling kit, which I think you can still get. So it had like palmistry and this tarot in it, which just has the black background, a little picture, and then the colors kind of tell you what suit you're in. Very simplistic. Again, I use this one a lot for spell work, actually. More so than I do reading. And so I have these on my altar. I have one of these on my altar for a spell there. So I do use these quite a bit for that, because I don't use it a lot in my regular day-to-day practice or to read for clients or anything. So I use these for spell work quite a bit because they're simple, right? And they're something that I've seen for some 30 some odd years. So I know what they look like. Now, this is not my original deck. That went away sometime in my late teens, early 20s. Really have no idea where it went, but I managed to snag another copy. So that's the one I use for a lot of my spell work or altar stuff, like stuff on my altar. So I have that, and I have, what other small ones? Oh, my Mesquite Tarot. Now, I do believe everyone has told me when I did my walkthrough of this one that it was out of print. I had no idea. But this is a great little deck. Now, it does have arrows You have your wands. Very simplistic. I love the tone of this. I love the color choices, and I like the people because they're just, I am human. There's nothing to them, you know what I mean? Love the vibes of this. And this one we have the leader, the knower, the novice, and the student are our court cards. But this is just a really nice little deck. Like I said, super simple. The backs are really cute. And they're a great size. I believe these are called bridge size decks. And just as a comparison, this is the mini version of the Nicoletta Ciccoli. And it's just thicker. It's kind of the same. A little bit taller. Basic bridge deck, I believe it's called. So we have that little deck. And then, well, I'll just show my Nicoletta, which I do have 2 copies of. So I have the mini version, the itty bitty mini, which is what I bought first because I wasn't sure if I was going to like this deck. But I ended up really, really loving it. And I think it took me 2 days, maybe, to just pick up the large size. I keep the small size. I really like that, again, for doing stuff on my altar because it is small. It doesn't take up a lot of space, or just to have in my bag. But I do have the larger copy of that as well. Look, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop everything. I'm like, no, please no. Okay, let's try to keep a grip on these. I really enjoy this deck. I know some people don't really care for it, but I have like a very, I don't know. I have a very wide range of styles in my collection, but I do love one that kind of like invokes a feeling. And I love decks that are like kind of weird and or kind of like creepy or just like oddity kind of styles, and I think that definitely falls in it, along with like the wooden tarot, which is probably, oh, I think this is my only, I mean, some people consider the pagan otherworlds, which I'll show, to be kind of Marseille-esque, but this and this little guy here, another one of my small ones, are really the only Tarot de Marseille that I have. And this is the wooden tarot. Of course, it's going to be all which ways. And now this one does not have a guidebook. It's very much intuitive. We have the plumes. Our aces are the gods. Really cool majors. We have the blooms, the plumes, the stones, and the bones. So we have the bones, the stones. Now these, I guess you would consider it kind of like an animal deck, but it doesn't feel that way to me. I don't know, it just has that like just strange vibe, like an oddities vibe. So I really do connect with this deck. I feel like it reads really well. I love the style of it. I like this kind of just different, kind of oddity-based style. So the wooden tarot, and then of course, like I said, the Tarot de Marseille. I have a little bitty version that I really don't like. But I got it because I was like, I need a regular one. I don't know what I want. I'm going to get a basic one. I hate this little thing. I'm not even going to lie. But I do keep it around because I don't mind cutting these up and putting them in my grimoire or journals or anything like that. So these are going to be my crafting deck. It barely cost $10. I don't even think it tipped the $10 scale. So they're very basic Marseille style, but the thing I don't like about it is these strips prevent me from I mean, and they're so small, I don't really want to make them smaller by trimming the sides. But even the back looks like a weird screensaver. I don't like it. I don't like it. But like I said, I feel like I can do a lot of good crafting with it, because there's no use in trying to rehome this deck, which is again why I bought the really small version, because I knew if I didn't like it, I could find something else to do with it, because it was so cheap. I wouldn't be like, oh no, I've wasted $35 on something that I'm not going to be able to get rid of because everybody can get the Tarot de Marseille. You know what I mean? So I'm not really mad at this one because I can find other uses for it. So there's that. Let's see. Where to go from here? Well, speaking of like odd little decks, I have my Illuminated Tarot along with the Illuminated playing cards, which are the same deck, only aesthetically different and size difference, okay? So we have the two smaller ones, which these are very much guide pamphlet. These are a little bigger, I think. They're a little wider than, yeah, these are wider than bridge size. They're playing card size, so the bridges are a little bit smaller. But these are just a regular deck of playing cards. However, it does have the Fool, but some of these have nods to and show some majors. So we have the blue version, we have the gold version, which I love for, again, playing cards in general, because I grew up playing cards, and my family were card readers, and they read with playing cards. So the Illustrated Tarot, again, they're the same, only these have all the colors and these are kind of tonal. These are less to play, like playing cards, in the sense that, like, number one, they were huge. I cut them down a lot. Like, there was a huge white border around this. So I cut these down, and it still looks like regular playing cards, but you can see the images better. So like the 5 of diamonds is also the Hierophant. I think we have the 8. That's also Justice. What is it? The 8 of Clubs? I'm not gonna be able to find it. Anyway, you can see all these crazy cool colors. Oh, there we go. That's the 8 of spades. I kept wanting to say swords. It is swords, but it's spades. So we have the 8 of spades and Justice. So, oh, the 7 of spades and the Chariot. So you can see how they'll play off of the majors in some of the minors, so you can kind of read them kind of however you want, as playing cards, just the numerology of it, as the tarot symbolism or system. You can use just the majors when you see it, like however you want to read it. I like the versatility of it. And then they have the Fool in there. So there's 52 cards, which is like a card deck, and then your Fool, so 53. So those are the Illuminated Tarot. And then, let's see, what's next? Now this deck I used to stay using so much, and that's the Tarot Mucha? I don't know how to say it, but I do love this deck. I love the style of it. And I say I used to because I used to reach for this one for client readings all the time. I love the colors and like just the ornate nature, but the way that the suits are, like you can really distinctly see really great patterns in like colors and styles. I just love this laid out. I just haven't grabbed it in a while. But man, just taking it out makes me just want to use this week. So I might do that. This is definitely one of my top tarot to use for client readings. Like I said, it was one that I usually went to quite a bit. My style has changed a little bit, so I haven't been reaching for it, but it's still a really great deck, and I still use it now. When I kind of like stop using a deck, I'll kind of reevaluate, but like I said, just seeing it makes me really want to use it again. So I may put this back into my rotation to see how that goes, but if I see that I'm not using it, then I might just have to rehome, but I don't think so. I think the second I put it back on my desk, I'm gonna be like, yes. Okay, so some other ones that I love, especially for shadow work and path working, are the two that I have by Lucia Mattioli. I have to look at it when I say her name because I still don't know if I'm saying it right. And that's the Fairy Lights Tarot and the Tarot of the Secret Forest. These are fantastic for shadow work and path working. So these are the ones. Now this one, both of them I trimmed the sides. This one I actually edged. So this one is one of my favorites for shadow work. It just brings out all the things. These appear to be oil paintings with a lot of texture on them. So like, I feel like to photograph these, like, cause I love to photograph my cards or my spreads and stuff and put them on Instagram. But for these, like, it's not really an option if you're trying to really see the cards. But man, to have them up close in your hands, completely different than on screen. Now these are also the ones that have the black and white background. Now they had some very unique keywords on some of these, so I actually put those keywords on the dark side. Oh, except for the majors. So the majors do not. The minors, I put their keywords that they had. Oh, we have another major on there. So I just thought these were super unique, and I love these for shadow work. And then the Fairy Lights I love for path working, because like I showed in my walkthrough of this one, I'll try to put that up there somewhere. These have pairs. So, I mean, this is not the pair, but every card has a partner, and it creates a larger picture. And I love this deck for like path working and meditation, because I just feel like it's just so unique. It's like stepping into a different world. And like, honestly, reading with this is way more intuitive than it is structured. So I will say that. The Fairy Lights, I feel like I don't really use a regular tarot structure with it. I definitely go intuitive. Again, with the Tarot of the Secret Forest as well, it's really great for shadow work, but I do pull a little more of the tarot in there as well. I'm trying to speed it up. We are already 25 minutes in. Oh my god. Okay. So, let's go next to my other aesthetic, right? I have that creepy aesthetic, but if anything else is a Dani staple, it's very earthy cards. I love something, you know, the wooden tarot, very earthy, brings me back, gets me grounded, makes me feel connected in so many different ways. So we have the Wildwood. Will Worthington artwork is so legit. It just puts me right there. It makes me feel like I've been there before, and I understand this, like, I don't know, it's so comforting, it's so earthy. So we have the Wildwood, and then, of course, the Druid craft. Now my Druid craft, I did. I dropped some. I did. We did it. There we go. I trimmed all the way around this one, and I just, see, I'm destined to drop it. I spoke this into being. Again though, the artwork just makes me feel like I'm there. It's like easily recognizable, but also has this like connected feeling, like, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. And that could be that sort of Celtic vibe, that Druid vibe that's in a lot of Will Worthington stuff that just really speaks to my soul. But I love that really earthy vibe. What else? The John Bauer, I have the John Bauer Tarot. That kind of makes me feel that way too, because a lot of his artwork was very much those kind of same tones. Now, I will say with this tarot, I love to use it. I love it. Again, these are one of those that they put the artwork into the tarot. They didn't make the artwork for the tarot. But I really love this deck. I will say, if I had to say anything, I really don't like the green. I don't like the green. So a part of me is like, man, should I modify this and use it in a different way? Or should I modify it and put, you know, 9 and then do like a simple suit of just like air, earth, fire, water, and then my numerals for my majors. I'm really considering that because I love this deck so much, because again, it gives that like almost oddity kind of like, this kind of reminds me of the Dark Crystal. So it has those like kind of like one-off vibes, but very fairy tale, very earthy vibe to it, very fae oriented. Because again, like, I really think of the Dark Crystal, those little characters there. And I just love that vibe. It puts me into a very comfortable state, and I feel like I can read these cards so easily. I don't want to step on my cards. Okay, good. They're not by my feet. They're way underneath. So let's see, what else? I'll go with this one. This is one of my newer ones. This is the Antique Anatomy or the Modern Tarot Reader. So these, there we go again. Oh, I lied. These are more Marseille. Look at me. These have the pips. These are pip decks. I forget about that. Again, with the oddities. I love it, love it, love it. So we have this guy. But again, it still has that really earthy vibe to me. It's got that, the bones and the botanicals in its beautiful Peggy bag. I love it. So we have this one. What else? Oh, speaking of Peggy bags, my other Peggy bag for my 2nd edition Marielle. Which this one is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of airy to me. That Fool, man. I could see how this could also feel earthy, but I don't know, there's something very airy about it to me. And there's just so much to this deck. So much. A beautiful deck that this is one that I'm still studying. I love the aesthetics. Obviously, it still has that kind of like odd feel to it. But it's got so much in it that I just love it. Speaking of that, my mini Queen's Tarot is on those like vibes to me. Now this is just a black and white and upside down. Very large deck, but I do enjoy this artwork. It's very chunky. Oh my gosh, everything is upside down everywhere I turn it. I swear I know how to shuffle. Look at this. But you can't really tell from this. Whatever, you guys. You get the point. Look at that. Just really, really cool, strange art. It always very thought-provoking to me. And I really like the black and white vibes. Sometimes I just want something kind of clean and to the point, and I feel like this really does it. It really does. And, I mean, it still has those RWS vibes, just in a very modern way. So I do love that. Did I drop another one right down there? No, I didn't. I thought I did. Okay. So, another really artistic deck that I love. One of my first, when I revamped into the tarot, this is one of the first ones that I was like, I must have. And this is the Line Strider's Journey. I just love those watercolors. Now this is sort of animal heavy in a way, but I don't know, I just really like the aesthetics of this deck. I read really well with it. I think that's because I'm just so used to it. And again, I do like a simple look to it because it's like that all white with just these beautiful watercolors. One of my favorite queens. The queens in here are some of my favorite. The Pentacles and the Cups. She is my favorite. Probably of all time. Where's she at? I'm going to try to show you. Queen of Swords. Oh, the King of Cups is beautiful as well. There she is. Oh, isn't she gorgeous? She's one of my favorite Queen of Cups of all time. So I do really like this deck. I like the simplicity of it. And again, there is something very mysterious and kind of otherworldly strange about this artwork. And I love the backs. Love it. So yeah. I think my aesthetic is pretty obvious. There's some eclectic ones strewn around in here, like this one, the Circle of Life Tarot. I just wanted to circle deck, if I'm being honest with you. I just wanted to circle deck. Now, I saw that Lisa had this beautiful black and white circle deck. I had never seen it before. Sorry, I had something pop up. I had never seen it before. Starts with a G. I'll put it somewhere. I'll find it. I'll put it. I had never seen that one. I had already had this one. But seeing it, it does kind of remind me of that mini Queen's Tarot. So I got the Circle of Life Tarot, which again has some very like interesting things. I do dig this deck because it does have like that fae vibe to it in a certain way. It's got some very unique characters in it. Like, I love this little bug creature thing. However, I will say, as cool as this deck is, and I love the circle aspect of it, I feel like the backs don't match with this deck at all. They're really cool backs, but they just don't go. Like, that doesn't go. That doesn't go with anything. The colors are not that bright. They're muted colors, which I think is why I was drawn to this one. Do I use it a whole bunch? No. I like the aesthetic of it. Like I said, I'm gonna be honest, like, I just wanted a circle deck. I do use it sometimes. So this is one of the ones that I'm like, I might need to reevaluate this and see, is this something that I really want? Is it something that I'm going to use? Or was it just something like, I want a round deck, and then I'll never touch it? So if that's the case, I'm just not going to keep it. Like I said, I've used it a few times. I've gotten really good readings with it, but I don't know. I'm just not sure. I'm going to put this in my just not sure pile. Just not sure. I'll put that with the Tarot Mucha. Okay. Then I have one that I love as a placeholder. I talked about it in one of my walkthroughs, and that is the Art of Life Tarot. Beautiful backs, huge deck, but these have quotes on all of them, and they are just pieces of famous artwork and quotes and stuff. So this I don't really use to read with. I don't. I do love these, again, as kind of like placeholders, something that I put up on my altar or on my desk. I love the whole idea of it. It's just a really good daily affirmation, daily quote to think about, you know. Like the Ten of Wands. I do love the art that it shows, and I love that it actually tells you where the art is from. And we have the quote, which is patience and fortitude conquer all things, Ralph Waldo Emerson. So it really does notate everything on the card. I really do like it. And it's one of those, like, I really love having it in my collection, and I love using it for what it is, but I'm like, do I really want it? Do I really want to keep it? I don't know. I don't know. This is one that I need to think on. I do really like it, and I love what it's for, and I love what it stands for, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep it. Just because I feel like I need to utilize it more. I don't know. One that I battle with a lot is the Cosmos. Now this has the Oracle and the Tarot, and I do have them mixed. A lot of times I mix them in one another. These are some of the Tarot. So this is one of the decks that was done by the Light Gray Art Lab, and it's a collaboration deck. So every card is done by someone different, which I love the idea. And I love how each card is as a standalone. There's a few of them that I'm just like, I don't like. I just don't like. I don't want them coming up in my spreads. Let me see if I can find it. Like, I don't know. There's some that I just feel like don't work for me as a whole. And I think that's okay. But I will say that this deck has kind of, oh, here it is. Y'all, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. This is the Page of Earth for Canis Major, Underdog, Overlooked Threat, Unglorified Action. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I don't know. And of course they have the constellations like within them. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. And that's okay. Because there are so many other ones that I do like within it, but I do battle with it, like reading full spreads. I much prefer to pick a card, like one of those one card draws or like stuff that doesn't go together. I will say that it has prevented me from getting some of the other collaborative decks that have like 78 different artists, because I feel like it feels disconnected. It really does in a lot of different cases, and this one kind of threw me for a loop. I did try one more, and that was the Ostara Tarot. Now I love the backs and the gilding, but this one, all the tones were kept very similar, And I think this is only 4 artists that kind of collabed for this, and I don't find that there is as much of a stark difference between, I mean, yeah, there are some, literally the first 2. You can see kind of the differences, but they did keep the tones. They have a feel for the deck, and I did really enjoy this one. Oh, I love this moon card. Whereas the star card, I'm not super crazy about, but again, the tones are there. They look similar. So I have to say, as a collaborative deck, I do like the Ostara, and I do use this one. This is a very springy deck for me. I like to use this in the spring. Again, Ostara, so it does have that vibe. But, you know, you have the new growth coming out of the back. I don't know. It just has those tones, and I really feel it. It's got all the bunnies. It's got a lot of animal elements in it. So I do enjoy this as a collaborative deck because, again, it kept with a tone and a vibe. Whereas I find the Cosmos, while there is an underlying tone, obviously, of the Cosmos, and everything has a constellation, star system, whatever. I enjoyed that aspect of it. But, I mean, you can see even from the thing, there's just no theme to it, you know? So, I don't know. I struggle with that one a lot. I love the look of some of those cards. I just have a lot of trouble. So, moving on. We have one that I edged and trimmed, and that's the Tattoo 8 Coins Tattoo Tarot. Now, after oh my god, we have another one. We have another one that is crazy. After I modified this one, I liked it a lot better. But I still say that there are some cards within this deck that I still feel just don't go. Like the Empress just doesn't have the same kind of feel. It doesn't feel finished, you know? And a lot of these, the ones that don't feel finished, seem to be like from a first version versus like final version. So you have a lot of the, like colored pencil or like watercolor pencil art with this versus more of like a paint with this. So it just feels like they're from 2 different versions, but it's not all of them. And I have to say, like, I was overly critical about this one for a while. I was like, this was a bad idea. I really wanted it because of these deep, rich colors, and everything just looks so great. And then those few that are just like, this is from a totally different deck. This does not have the same feel. So I did have a really tough time when those came up because it was like, I don't know. It just didn't feel as finished. And these are so beautiful. And it's still beautiful art. Don't get me wrong. The art is still fantastic. It is still absolutely beautiful. But compared to literally all the other ones, they just don't feel finished. Because, I mean, look at this. Everything is so deep in tones and so rich in vibes. Beautiful. So, I will say that a lot of times that's my hang up with this deck. I do still really enjoy it, but it is one that I'm considering maybe still rehoming just because, I don't know, I just have mixed feelings. And then again, I'm like, do I rehome it or do I put it to a different use? That's a big question when it comes to this one because some of the artwork is so beautiful that I just really appreciate the art, but I don't always appreciate the finished package of it. So, I don't know. I'm still kind of with that. Oh my gosh, did I lose my really big, okay. I have a really big pin that I put in this little bag that I made, and I thought I lost it, and I was like, well, that's gonna hurt if I can't find it. Yeah, okay, anyway, we're almost done. We're almost done. Okay, I'm sorry. So another one, probably the last one, yeah, that I'm like, oh, is the beloved Wild Unknown Tarot. When I first got this deck, I connected with it wholeheartedly. I loved it. I loved the vibe. I loved the feel. Every card that I chose, I could just feel it. And like slowly, it just disconnected for me. And I just don't know quite why. Now, I've always been kind of like, meh, when it came to the court cards. Just because I felt like some of her other images were so expressive, and I just found that some of her court cards just weren't as expressive as some of her other ones. Like this one is pretty good. But then you have the stuff like these that are just very like, womp womp. So I feel like that's kind of where it started to unravel. As art, I love Kim Cran's art. I love her art. So that's kind of where it like damaged. Because I'm just like, I really love it, but I really don't. And the dreaded Six of Wands, I constantly think that this is the Six of Wands, because those tangle of swords at first glance always trip me up. It's like, even though she makes these look like sticks, at first glance that's what it looks like. You can't really tell to me that it's swords. That's just being nitpicky. But I will say that's one card that it always got me. But again, I love the backing, I love the art style, but I just don't connect with it anymore. So I feel like this might leave my collection just because I just don't connect with it. And that's a lot of the reason why, you know, I didn't get the animal spirit, because I love the art. It's so beautiful, but I just don't think I'll connect with it because there's just the animal on it without any keywords, without anything. And like, I don't connect well with just plain animal decks. I just don't. There are some that I really enjoy, like again, the Wildwood is one that I really enjoy that are really heavy on animals. The Rider Tarot has a lot of animals, but like, I don't know, they're not an animal oracle. You know what I mean? Animal oracles, I don't have any because of that. I just don't feel the connection. Anyway, I'm rambling. You know what I need to do? I need to do an anti-haul like Lisa did. So, my last little few are the ones that kind of stay around my desk. Now, this is a little box I made. They're terrible. Don't look too close. It's bad. I like chewed up the edges, right, to get it out because I made the wrong size. It was my first box. It's fine. It's fine. You want some real box? Talk to Dustin. Mine was a first attempt, but I like it. It's fine. Anyway, this is for my Dreaming Way. Oh, I love this Dreaming Way tarot. Again, it's very dreamlike. It's very fantasy, wonder. Oh, I love this tower. But it has that like modern vibe to it. I love the artwork. It's got such a mixture of whimsy. I love this. Oh, one of my favorite Wheel of Fortunes. I love that. The only thing about this one that I don't like is the back. I don't like the back. But I don't know if I want to reback it because then it makes it huge. And like, it's already a nice chunky deck. But that'll make it huge. But I do love the fronts. So I just ignore it because I love the Dreaming Way Tarot. I love it. Let's move on to this little guy, which is the Deviant Moon. Yes! This, when I first saw this deck, I was like, I'm never getting it. It's weird. I don't like it. It's creepy. No. And then I got it. And then I got the big book for it because I fell in love. I fell in love when I got this thing in my hands. I really did. Because it kept just showing up and I was like, I'm just going to get it. If I don't like it, it'll probably be easy to rehome. But I fell in love with it. And then to figure out all the stories, to read about all the stories behind it, it fascinated me. And one of my friends, you know, I showed it to her. I'm like, I know this is a strange deck and doesn't really look like me. She's like, what? She's like, I could have picked that deck in a lineup and said you would have bought it. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I guess I just, like, because I do. I love weird, strange, eclectic kind of, you know, creepy aspect to it. But for whatever reason, it just weirded me out. So I guess I just didn't think of it that way. But then once I got it in my hands, I was just like, oh, I love everything about it. And so, yeah, I guess I had those blinders on and was like, that's not a deck I would like. And she's like, yeah, that's one, if I would have had a lineup, I would have picked it for you. Especially this is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck. I love it. I love this one. Anyway, so I have my Deviant Moon. I do want to get the Oracle. I hope that it gets finished sometime soon. I really do want to get the Oracle. I don't have any of his other ones. They don't really call to me as much, but I do love that. And one of my most beloved. Sorry, this has a really long ribbon. I just never cut it. My Game of Thrones. We all know how much I love my Game of Thrones. Now, I spoke with the illustrator, the artist that did this, who is a really, really cool guy. And I found out, because I had no idea, that they released some other versions that do not have, can you guys see that? I'm trying to get in the light. There you go. The linen finish on it. This kind of textured finish. And supposedly you can see the artwork a bit better without the texture on there. I might have to get it. I might have to get it. I might have to get another one. Solely because I want to be able to dive into that art a little bit more. Because it's so interesting. There's a bunch of little extra hidden things in there. So I'm definitely considering just an extra copy. Which is not something I do often, obviously. What next? Ooh, let's go with the Spellcasters. You can see I have like just the most random bags and stuff. Some I make, some are just little clear bags. This one has been through a lot. This is a much loved deck, and that is the Spellcasters Tarot. I love the artwork. I love the inclusive nature of it. It's got just some really great characters. I love the feel of it. And all of the symbolism that comes in. I love, this is one of my favorite decks as far as the court cards go. I love the court in this deck. Y'all, this world is unbelievable. She's my favorite. But yeah, it's a cool deck. So I have the Spellcasters. This is so long. Oh my god. Maybe I'll be able to cut it. I'm almost done, y'all, I swear. Okay, last few. We'll go with another indie deck here. And that is the Beautiful Rebellion to plug in. Okay. I love the artwork. Now, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the yellow lettering, I love the art and the choices so much that I don't even care. It's not an issue as much as I thought it would be, because I was like, that's the one thing that I don't care for, but it's not that bad. There are some that are not as clear, but again, just the choices. I know this artwork and I love what she chose, so I can overlook it in this deck. That's something that I can overlook because I enjoy it so much. These are all the same ones that I've already showed you. Oh, I love this little fool. I love that. Anyway, it's got this really cool like tapestry. Looks like woven tapestry backs. It's a really great deck. That's the Beautiful Rebellion. I think she has another version out. And along those same lines is my love. My sweet, sweet love. And that is the Revival art. This is all Dustin's fault. Look at this. They're so sumptuous. And they're vibrant. And I love to read with these. Again, a close second when it comes to the court cards. I love the court cards in this. And these are, again, other works of art. I love it. That were kind of found and put into the tarot. And it was just done beautifully. I love the cardstock. I like how big it is because you can really see all the details. These were great choices. I love it. Love it! This one does not leave my desk. It doesn't. It does not leave my desk. So we have the Revival art here. We have another one that does not leave my space. Is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. I love this Fae deck. Oh, I love it. And the aces are so cute. Now this is one that has, it's mostly just faces on everything. It's just seeing these faces, and man, when you get up close and you really do a nice spread with these, you can feel every emotion. The artist is phenomenal when it comes to that. There's another ace with the animal on it. But you can read so much into it. It's like you don't notice, you know, at first glance you're like, oh, these are just a bunch of faces, it's not gonna work. But really seeing the minute details and the way that the eyebrow goes up or the eye shifts down or the lip comes out, you know, like there is so much to be read from a face, right? There's a reason why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, because it is very, very true. So that is my Hidden Realm. Last four, bum bum bum. These are always the ones on my desk, if you're wondering. We have the Saceribito. Upside down again! Foiled. Okay. So great. I swear, when I use them, they're all in one spot. They're all right side up. I don't know what I do when I pull these things out. But this is just such a great deck. I love it so much. I love it. So we have the Saceribito. Then we have Pagan Otherworlds. Again, I love that Renaissance art style, that artistic vibe, and this just really does it for me because it looks like it just has those vibes. And some are taken from, you know, the Rider-Waite, and there are some that are referenced. There's one, where's he at? I don't remember where he's at. I'll probably find him afterwards. But that are referenced on older pieces of art, that in doing my own deck, since I'm using 16th and 17th century art that I'll see the references for, and I'm like, oh, I see it, which I think is really, really cool. And again, it's kind of like Pip style, but there's something going on in the background, so you can still kind of take it from there. But the figures, they look like, this guy. Whereas he's usually upright, but he's very reminiscent of, let me think of his name, Saint Anthony. I think that's what his name is. Don't quote me. But I actually use one of the references there. I actually use him here in one of my pieces. He usually has arrows stuck all in him. It's one of those things where I took most of the arrows out except for one for my hanged man. But yeah, so like I recognized a few of those in there, but these are gorgeous. It made me love it even more. I love the pentacles in this. So beautiful. I love my Pig in Other Worlds. I use this all the time. I use those a lot for everything. Like, that's one of those decks where, like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I grab it, I'm gonna get a good reading from it. Another one that I keep around all the time became a fast favorite of mine, and that is the Moonchild. Not really something that I thought aesthetically I would like so much because of the way that it's collaged out, but I do. I love it so much, and it's probably because I saw and kind of played with the Star Child, and I didn't like it. One of my friends had it, and I flipped through it, and because I really thought I would dig it. I kind of liked the colors and the patterns and stuff, so I was like, oh, let me look through it, and I did, and I just didn't like it. I didn't flow with it. I was like, and then I saw that this deck was being done, and I started following it on Instagram, and there was something about it. But again, I think it's got these, like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like that 70s vibe because of like the lines and the aesthetics, and I don't know. It's something that sparked me, and it became a very, very, very fast favorite of mine. Is this the last one? This is my last one? Yes. The Fountain Tarot. Bum, bum, bum. This tarot is another one that when I got it, it stayed. It stayed around my desk. I rarely put the Fountain Tarot away because I love the sleekness. I love the colors. I love the whole aesthetic of this. And this is, as funny as it is, I keep these two together quite a bit because I feel like my masculine and my feminine that just kind of feel good together for balance. So sometimes I'll use those together. But there's something about this Fountain Tarot that makes me think masculine, and it is so, how do I describe it? It's like soothing, but very, I don't know if I want to say like stark or cold, but like it is, that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, it's comforting, but it is cold. And I think that comes from like that modern look, but like it feels right. You know what I mean? And I think that's why it feels very masculine to me, is because of the hard lines, Whereas like the feminine, oh, I do love this Two of Swords, oh my god. Whereas like it doesn't feel like soft and curvy like a woman deck, right? Like the moon deck, there's a lot of like curves, and this is very straight line, and I think that's why I feel so strongly about this one. It is like the balance to my other decks. I love the Fountain Tarot. That's it, you guys. There we have it. My tarot collection. I'm sure there are probably quite a few that are like, what? You don't have this one? I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a lot of that from my pals. But that is my collection. So I do have a few that I have to think about. What am I doing with these? Am I rehoming? Where do they go? And then, of course, there's mine. Oh, can I throw that in there? I had these on my desk. So I'm working on mine right now. There will be an update very soon. I'm working on my cups. I have a couple of them completed. I'm really excited to be back working on my deck. There's going to be a couple of changes to my majors that'll be in the next round that I print. But I'm enjoying that. So there will be another deck in my collection. But, yeah, so that's it, you guys. Thanks for sticking it out. If you made it this far, look, 10,000 points. You made it. So thanks for being here. If you're looking for me, I do have all my links below. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Later, Gators.